Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome to my channel. I created a cookbook out of recipes I had collected over the years. I named my cookbook My Random Recipes. I'm sharing my recipes with you here, beginning with the appetizers. We're currently working on the finger foods. Although there's some overlap, I'm actually also working with appetizers that have meat in them. So today's recipe is Grandma Ann's toasted finger sandwiches. When I acquired Grandma's recipe, this is it here. It didn't have a name at all. It is definitely toasted finger sandwiches, and it is Grandma Ann's. So I named it Grandma Ann's Toasted Finger Sandwiches. I do want to give credit where credit is due. And as you can see, there aren't a lot of instructions for this recipe. So this is going to be a bit of an experiment. What Grandma thought she meant and what I understand she meant may not necessarily be the same. I'll do the best I can and see how this goes. So I'll turn this down so you can see it. Okay, so this is a half a cup or 1 stick of softened butter. So we're going to add to that 2 5-ounce jars of Old English cheese spread. I was actually able to find this one. Some of the other flavors have kind of disappeared, so this one is still available. I would have scooped it out ahead of time, but I want to let you see the jar so you'd know what to look for if you wanted to get this. So we're supposed to cream these together until they're smooth. I think I'm going to put this in the microwave for like 10 seconds just to help soften up that cheese. I don't want to heat it too long because the butter's already soft. Okay, that's a little better. Okay, I think we're about as far as we're going to be able to get. Alright, so that is the butter cheese mixture. Now this is going to go on bread, obviously, because it's a sandwich. Let me grab the bread. Went ahead and cut the crust off of all but one of them so I can show you what I'm using. The recipe calls for sandwich bread. Sandwich bread, you know, is generally square, and then that's so you can cut the crust off of them easily. I couldn't find sandwich bread, so I ended up going with Texas toast, so it's nice and thick. It's kind of got a nice yellow, so it's got probably egg in it. So we'll cut the crust off of this. So here's our half of bread we're supposed to use. This is supposed to have 16 slices of bread. I have another 8 over here. Okay, so we're supposed to spread this on our bread. I'll do 1 or 2, and then I'll pause the camera because you just probably don't want to watch me butter 16 slices of bread. Okay, so yes, I will pause that camera here in just a sec. Okay, I'll pause this and I'll be back when I'm done with buttering my bread. Okay, I'm back. So this is 2 trays. I buttered them rather generously. There's quite a thick layer of the butter cheese mixture. I do have a little bit left over. Try to use as much of it as possible. So I'm going to set these aside, and now we get to make the rest of the sandwich. The recipe calls for 4 hard-boiled eggs. Now I'll show you what I do. So this is 3 of my 4 eggs. I'm sure a lot of you have a slicer. Every job's easier with the right tools, right? So I take it, slice it one way, keep it together as much as possible, turn it the other way, and that way makes a quick job of cutting the eggs down into small pieces for use in sandwiches. So there's 4 hard-cooked eggs. Then we have 2/3 of a cup of mayonnaise. Okay, and then this is a half a cup of green sliced olives. These are the ones with the pimentos in them. And then a 1 5-ounce can of canned chicken. So this is just white meat canned chicken. I drained it so there's no extra liquid. I'll dump that in there. And then we're going to mix this together. It smells pretty good. I like the olive smell. Hard-boiled eggs and green olives do go together really well. Kind of a classic combination. So that's pretty well combined, I will assemble the sandwiches. We'll do one tray at a time. So I need to divide this among 16 sandwiches. So I think we'll call that good. I'll put this in the oven. They bake for 10 to 15 minutes or until crispy, and at 375. And then I'll get these going in the oven, and then we'll come back and do the other half. So I've got the oven going. I've got the first batch in. When these are both done, I will be back and we'll take a look at this. Okay, so we're back. So I baked both batches. I baked them separately because I wanted them to bake evenly, and those trays are big enough in my oven that I really can't do 2 at a time. So, I did give them full 15 minutes. I checked them at 10 minutes, gave them a turn. I want to make sure they cooked evenly, but they did need the full 15 minutes, and then they turned out really nice and crispy. So I saved one. I couldn't decide whether to go with toast points or squares. So I did some of both. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this up. You can see it's really nice and crispy, and it cuts really easily. The one thing I think I would do differently for sure next time is I would put a little bit of pan spray on my baking sheets, because they did stick a little bit as I was taking them off of the tray. So here are my samples. I did one of each, one of my squares and one of my toast points. Now the toast point is the warmer of the two, so I'm going to go ahead and eat that first. So here's my toast point, still warm. It's an interesting combination. I'm getting a strong taste of the olive. Not really sure what I was tasting. I'm thinking the olive is probably the most dominant flavor. Let me try one that's been cooled off a little bit and see how that tastes. So this is one of the squares. Taste the egg. I don't really taste the chicken. It's kind of in the background. So it's the olive and the egg that are kind of the dominant flavors. The texture is nice. It's good and crispy. The butter's coming through. It's actually pretty good. It's not too complicated to make. It makes quite a few. Each slice of bread made 4. So a total of 64 toasted finger sandwiches for a recipe. So that's pretty good. So I would recommend it. I think it's a good choice. Well, I'm currently sharing the foods that I've been making from my recipes with my coworkers. But unfortunately for tomorrow, they're going to have day-old finger sandwiches. So, you know, what can you do? Say a special thank you to all the people who watched my video last week. I don't know how I finally got everybody's attention, but I did get quite a bit of traffic, and I appreciate you folks' interest. So I would appreciate if you folks would like, comment, share, subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome. Thank you for joining me on my journey. Hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye.